So on the last episode, we learned a few key items relating to how people first traded with each other using the barter trade method, which was a direct product to product exchange. We also saw how the banks were slowly created, and we saw its first groundbreaking innovation, a handwritten note. This piece of paper was to be a reflection or a representation of the gold coin in the bank vault. The banknote was not the money, it was simply a representation. For example, if you go to a laundromat and leave two of your Levi's jeans, the laundromat receptionist will give you a slip showing that you left two blue Levi's jeans with them, so they may wash them for you. So the slip will only reflect the items you left behind, but the slip is not of equal value, but it's just a representation, right? So the reason for these teachings or these video recordings is simply to equip you on your journey pertaining to finances. So typically when someone says they are teaching a particular topic or subject through the lenses of the Bible, it's then followed by instructions to fast and claim your victory in Christ, you know. And I wish it was the case, but unfortunately you cannot pray your way out of ignorance, you know. Ignorance is not a demon that you can just cast out. The only way to rid yourself of ignorance is through knowledge.
Through knowledge, the just shall be delivered.
You know, there's a verse that I can't remember what verse it is, but through knowledge, the just shall be delivered. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, let's continue. From the previous episode, we learned how people first traded via the barter trade system, which was very ineffective to say the least. We saw the introduction of valuable commodities such as gold and silver becoming an accepted tool of trade or an accepted currency of trade because of how rare they were. We saw how the relationship merchants or entrepreneurs came to be with goldsmiths. So the relationship the merchants and goldsmiths had organically gave birth to a business solution that business solution was called the banco, or the bank. You know what we call it, that's what we call it today. And we also witnessed the banco, or the bank's first innovative product, which was a piece of paper, a handwritten note or a handwritten paper note. This became popularly known as the banco note, and to this day we still call it the bank note. There is only one difference. Actually, there's two differences between the old banknotes and the ones that we use today. Today's banknotes are beautifully designed, and instead of them being handwritten, they are printed. So our modern day financial system is heavily influenced by the Western world, and the modern day Western world is also heavily linked or influenced by a very small kingdom, the UK. The United Kingdom of Britain and Northern Ireland. So this kingdom is geographically very small, yet the entire world has its fingerprints. You know, the USA, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, India, Hong Kong, and nearly the entire continent of Africa. Well, we can say the entire world has at some point been under the British rule or under the influence of the British. So in order for us to understand the history of money, we have to follow the Brits. The British pound has its origin in the continental Europe under the Roman era. Its name derives from the Latin word poundus, meaning weight. In 775 AD, the pound was a unit of currency equivalent to 1 pound of silver, meaning 1 British pound was equivalent to 450 grams of silver. And that was a lot. In 928 AD, the first king of England, or at least is considered to be the first true king of England, Othelstan, adopted the sterlingas. I think I butchered the name, but it's Othelstan. Anyway, he adopted the sterlingas as the nation's first currency. He then set mints, or let's say he set factories around the country to supply the growing nation of England with the sterling as currency. At the time, 1 British pound could buy you 15 cows. And we are now in 2024, and 1 British pound, I think it can buy you like a pen. Anyway, fast forward to 1694. The French defeated the English in the naval wars. This simply means the war mostly took place in the sea. This is known as the Battle of Beachy Head. This then led the King of England, William III, to establish the Bank of England so as to fund the continual war with France. And in 12 days, 1.2 million was raised. Wow, that's a lot of money. Anyway, the king and queen were the shareholders of the bank, meaning this was a private bank. In 1717, the UK defined the value of the sterling or the sterlingas in gold rather than in silver for the first time. And as master of the mint, the famous Sir Isaac Newton set the gold price at £4.25 per ounce. Roughly for 4 British pounds, you could get 28 grams of pure gold. And this lasted for about 200 years, except when the UK went to war with Italy under the leadership of Napoleon. So in the 1800s, the official gold standard truly arrived when Germany finally adopted the gold standard. The gold standard refers to gold being used as the measuring stick for the printed paper money. So in effect, this means gold was the accepted true money, not the printed paper money. And in 1914, the UK suspended its gold standard so it could support its war efforts. And they borrowed heavily, and as a result, they suffered inflation from the borrowing. Now, just to clear a few things, when we say the UK borrowed money, it means they borrowed from the Bank of England. And remember, at the time of its establishment in 1694, King William III and Queen Mary were its stockholders or shareholders, meaning it was a private bank until 1946, when it then became nationalized. So every time the UK borrowed money from the Bank of England, and it was almost always to fund a war, they were borrowing money from a private bank. So this is now the crazy part. They will suspend the gold standard for a time period in order to fund the war. Remember, the gold standard meant 4 British pounds represented 28 grams of pure gold in the bank. This effectively meant for you to print another 4 British pounds, it will be because you have had an additional 28 grams of pure gold. So same as the example we gave with the laundromat. The laundromat's receptionist can only write slips as per customers coming in with additional clothes to be washed. So that will be the gold standard. If the laundromat only have 2 jeans in the laundry shop, the receptionist can only write receipts that reflect 2 jeans. But if the gold standard is suspended, using this example, then by law, our receptionist is allowed to write a slip or a note that says the laundromat now has 4 jeans, while in fact they only have 2 jeans. So every time the UK suspended the gold standard, this meant they could print money, paper money. And remember, as with our example with the laundromat, originally paper money represented the gold in the vault. It represented actual gold in the bank. Now, if the bank starts to print more paper money than the gold in the vault, that paper money it no longer has the same value. So if 4 British pounds represent 28 grams of pure gold, and you go and print another 4 additional British pounds, the total paper money in circulation is now 8 British pounds. So this now means 8 British pounds represent 28 grams of pure gold. We now have 8 pounds instead of 4 British pounds. However, the amount of gold is the same. The paper money has been made to be more, yet it has less value. This is what is meant when they say money is losing its value, or when they say money depreciates, or they say money loses, or when they say money loses its value due to inflation. It's because the paper money has been inflated from 4 British pounds to 8 British pounds. So then we get inflation. This is how we get inflation, nothing else. In fact, they should correctly say the printation of money causes inflation, because the more you print money, then you get inflation. Anyway, let's get back to our lesson. Every time the UK suspended the gold standard, inflation followed and the people suffered. Remember, I previously said the price of gold that was set by Sir Isaac Newton lasted for 200 years. It only changed when they went to war with Italy under the leadership of Napoleon. That's because they again suspended the gold standard and printed more paper money, and as a result, there was money inflation and people suffered. So I hope I haven't lost you, or you haven't lost me. So this is very important. This is paramount to your understanding of debt and how it affects you. So if it means you grabbing a pen and a notebook, rewind and write notes. Most importantly, be as the Bereans in Acts 17. Research this for yourself. Whatever I've been sharing, research it for yourself, you know. I know this might seem to be very slow, but building a strong castle of understanding can only be done precept upon precept. In Isaiah 28 verse 10, the good book says, "For he tells us everything over and over again, one line at a time, a little here, a little there." So let's take time and soak this in, and before you know it, the castle of understanding will start to take place. I think for this week, we need to stop here and continue on the next episode. This has been a Hacken Equip presentation, and I'm your host, Swazi N. As always, remember, desperation always outpunches wisdom. Don't operate under desperation. Cheers, guys. Stay in the word, Yeshua.